ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Good morning, this is Arlene.
Hello, this is Grace.
Welcome to our ASEAN Daily, where we bring you news from Southeast Asia. And our first commentary today is about the French President Francois Hollande. He is to visit Vietnam in 2016.
That's correct. So the French National Assembly Foreign Affairs Committee Elizabeth Gill has confirmed that the French President Francois Hollande will visit Vietnam in the soonest the next year. And also it was also made in a statement during her visit to Vietnam. It was in December that she met President Trong Tan Sang and also Prime Minister New Tan Dong. So this French President Francois Hollande had planned to visit Vietnam since this year a long time ago, but he has been too busy to deal with other events such as terror attack and also 21st the conference of the Paris, which was the COP21, which was recently held.
The reason why this visit to Vietnam is significant because historically Vietnam and France have very strong ties, especially Vietnam was one of the few Southeast Asian countries that were colonized by the French. And this visit is also significant because it will provide bilateral trade value amounted to $3 billion. President Trong Tan Sang asked for more effort from both Vietnam and France to raise two-way trade above the current level of the nearly $3 billion that I mentioned.
That's true. And also when it comes to South China Sea situation, through the photos provided by the Vietnamese Defense Ministry, they said other parliamentaries acknowledged that the scale of these issues is very important to be acknowledged, and also the construction that has been built by China is not small, it's quite at large. So it is significant to have perhaps the third party to coming in to discuss these issues a bit even further.
Of course, besides having a third party, France also is in support to deal with this dispute in a peaceful manner with respect to international law and willingness to cooperate with Vietnam in the South China Sea related issue. On the other hand, we also see that the president congratulated France on successfully hosting the COP21 and suggested the France National Assembly support Vietnam to intensify its ties with EU and early ratify the Vietnam-EU Partnership and Cooperation Agreement. So there's a lot of things going on, and hopefully this visit will strengthen the relationship of both countries. Moving on to a news in the Philippines. President Aquino to sign 2016 national budget on Tuesday.
So, Davao City Representative Isidro Ongab, he's the chairman of the House Committee on Appropriation. According to them, the scheduled signing, there will be a new budget by January 1st, which is very, very nearby. And this will be the 6th year that Congress was able to pass the national budget on time. So basically, the Philippines also has faced certain situations such as the budget plan, which is very important to the nation. So after Malaysia, after Singapore, now it's the Philippines, and of course the public will be expecting what they can get out of the budget plan.
So it's amazing that they finally are signing the proposed budget of P3.002 trillion General Appropriations Bill on December 22. And this will be the 6th year that the Congress was able to pass national budget on time. I don't know why they are not able in the past to pass their national budget on time. So it's a big question there.
Well, just to elaborate more on the 2016 budget, the social services sector continues to get the largest chunk at about 36.8% of the national budget, or 1.106 trillion, that's in the Filipino currency, followed by the economic services with 27.6% out of the 820 9.6 billion peso, and also general public services with a 17.3% out of 517.9 peso billions. So in addition to that as well, the defense sector receives about 129.1 billion peso or 129.1 billion of the proposed of the 2016.
The debt burden, which is composed of interest payment to service outstanding debts as well as net lending to government corporation, has been allocated at 14% of the total budget of 490.3 billion peso. Moving on to another news in the Philippines, government programs seek to integrate former armed rebels into the Philippine society.
So basically, from being part of the armed group that has been fighting the Philippines government to being a part of the military was not, of course, it was not an easy decision, but it was a decision that Ellen Karandang felt that she had to make for the sake of her children. So she is one of this handful former members of the New People Army, which is called NPA, who have laid down their guns and have chosen to return to the fold of the government. And the question here is, when it comes to the Philippine government, they are hoping to have this program to integrate these former armed rebels that can help to move back to mainstream society. But my question is it really that we'll be able to done it like really soon, or do they really need to have a better communication, better sort of like a resolution to come to the solution?
It's true, because it's not easy to make such a decision, but it was a decision that Ellen Karangdang felt that she had to make for the sake of her children when it comes to being when it comes to integrating into the mainstream Philippine society. As we all know that Mr. Karandang is one of the handful of former members of the New People's Army NPA who has laid down their guns and chosen to return to the fold of the government. But the problem is the family is still divided, and her husband has chosen to instead stay with the NPA rather than surrender.
So, to add more information about that, is there about 15,000 to 20,000 former members of MPA. They are now working with the Philippine Armed Forces, and also they are a part of the government's Gun for Peace and the Social Integration Program, which gives them the financial compensation for surrendering their firearms and also monetary assistance to help them integrate into mainstream society. So it looks like it's been going on to be able to compensate them financially to support them. But is it something that perhaps the other countries such as Myanmar perhaps can also look at the solution when it comes to those society to blend them into?
A lot of countries in Southeast Asia do have ethnic rebel groups that are in conflict with the mainstream government. And besides Myanmar, countries like Indonesia and many more are still very much in between, whether, in terms of some of the rebel groups, whether they are able to integrate into the mainstream society. And I think learning from the Philippines is great. And the Philippines can be a great example of how it integrated rebel groups from the south to the mainstream population, who are majority Catholics. We move on to another news, and this time is in Singapore. Singapore court orders the blogger to pay Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong more than 100 million Sing dollar over defamation.
So what happened was, most of us, we know about the bloggers who were caught. It was just last year that his name is Gurng. He was caught from his blog, was accused of implicating this Lee Hsien Loong in an impropriety in connection with the management of funds. So the High Court had earlier ordered this guy to pay Lee about 29,000 Singaporean dollar in legal fees. And of course, the leaders of Singapore, Southeast Asia's prosperous business hub, have in the past sued or settled out of court with the foreign media for alleged defamation. but it was the first time that a blogger has faced such a situation, and also for his own actions.
Yeah, this is a very complicated issue because this is not the period of Lee Kuan Yew where people are scared of the leadership of the government, and in today's internet world, for Lee Hsien Loong to do the same thing towards a blogger on things that, you know, people can easily say that, you know, for a blogger, they can write whatever they want on the internet, and government should not be too concern what they write and rather focus more on what are the things that they can provide for their own society. So these are the things that a lot of even among Singaporeans and among people who are outside of Singapore in Southeast Asia, they question whether this is a form of breach towards the freedom of expression. Nevertheless, leaders of Singapore, Southeast Asia Prosperous Business Hub, have in the past sued or settled out or caught many media, foreign media in the past, but when it comes to their own local people, it's another story. They might be a bit more, I would say, iron-fisted.
Well, that is true in a way, because for those countries who have been practicing the democracy, the freedom of speech is very necessary in one country for the public to express their own opinions. But when it's restricted, it's a big question that not only to Singapore, but the countries which have their voices out in the name of democracy. But from the Justice Ling Seong Kin, he said that he had to, put it simply, call the plaintiff a thief when what he had wanted to do was just to criticize the CPF policy of the government headed by the plaintiff. That's what Lee wrote to the judgment, and that he was referring to the Central Provident Fund CPF savings scheme.
I don't see this as a defamation, to be, if I were to comment from my perspective, because any government policy should be criticized by its either opponent or by the public. I think the role of government is to prove that whatever policy that it has amended, it has helped its people, and if it doesn't, then you just go back to the board and change, improvise the policy.
Well, improvement is one thing, but at the same time, you're right there. It's really important to get the criticism or suggestions from the public. That also shows that how we do care about the nation, how that we want to move forward together.
Mm-hmm.
But when the government rejects a certain opinion and also suggestion, that shows that perhaps the government is afraid of making a change or even moving forward in terms of the whole nation and society.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll discuss on the economic and business side of Southeast Asia.
Hi, I'm Radhi Khalid, actor, producer, director, MC, loverboy, player. You're listening now to Duran ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. So let's share our love, be honest about our craft, and let's be united and make the world a better place. Love to all.
Happiness feels like this. So meet me at the rainbow's end. We don't even have to pretend that we know what it is we're looking for. We're looking for. Life is just a dream. Ooh, lucky you. Lucky, lucky me. Life is just a dream. Lucky you. Lucky, lucky me. Troubles into the sky. They can be the stars in our eyes, and we can count them on another day from far away. Life is just a dream. Ooh, lucky you. Lucky, lucky me. Life is just a dream. Lucky, lucky me.
ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Welcome back. This is Arlene.
Hi, this is Grace.
And of course, you're still with us on our ASEAN Daily. And on our economy and business side, we want to put a focus on Laos, although it's a small country with a population that is lesser than majority of the Southeast Asian nation. But it could actually act as an land link in integrated ASEAN.
Which is very good news because Laos will chair ASEAN next year, and according to the official, they said these landlocked countries can serve as a model for connectivity, helping the region to focus on the development gap between the rich and the poor countries of ASEAN, which is very important element when it comes to whole ASEAN community to narrow down this gap between rich and poor, because it is very, I would say, obviously divided when it comes to 10 ASEAN nations, because we all know the CL and V countries, as well as that compared to Singapore and Malaysia or other surrounding countries when it comes to economic the growth and in terms of their progressiveness. So having Laos focusing on this connecting road network infrastructure to become this land linked is very positive news, and also it will definitely help to boost their economic growth as well as perhaps the connectivity throughout the Southeast Asia.
I couldn't agree more, because when it comes to Laos, it's a landlocked country that is situated bordering Southeast Asia and China. And besides that, when we look at Laos, even though it's a poor country, but it has the potential to be part of the greater Southeast Asia nation. I think the challenge right now for Southeast Asia that it needs to level out the playing field when it comes to the very rich to the very poor nations in Southeast Asia. And Laos, as a landlocked country, has to focus on connecting road and network infrastructure to become the land link instead. This was expressed by Chair Vanarith, a lecturer in the Asia Pacific Studies at the University of Leeds.
And well, according to him, he also said even without access to the sea, this country has a very strategic location, and also it is also connected to China, the Mekong countries, and Laos, like I shortly mentioned before, it is among the group of less developed countries within ASEAN, which includes Cambodia, and also connecting this economic to those of richer countries like Thailand, China, and India. Definitely, they can help them to grow.
And with Laos, as well as the other CMLV countries growing, we can reduce the economic gap by boosting the small and medium-sized businesses. I think I really agree with that lecturer's point of view. What we need right now is road network infrastructure, and extremely lacking in Southeast Asia. Good roads, good public transportation, good trains that link from one point to another point. And on another news about strengthening ties between Thailand and Cambodia.
Well, these two countries, they have agreed to boost their economic and business ties during the official visit to Thailand by Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen. So he called for more Thai investment at a Thai and a Cambodian business forum. So these two countries pledged to triple bilateral trade and investment by 2020. So it looks like in Southeast Asia, by the year of 2020, we have a lot of things to be accomplished, well, which is pretty good news. But the problem is, always Southeast Asia has plans, lots of plans, but then the execution part is always another question. But here again, when it comes to economic growth, these two countries can really stick to their words and carry out the plans and really show an example of bilateral relationship as well as the economic growth together.
Relationship between Thailand and Cambodia are very strong. In fact, President Hun Sen is calling for more Thai investment at a Thai and Cambodian business forum. The two countries pledged to triple bilateral trade and investment by 2020. As we are looking at this, Cambodia is the second most important source of labor in the Thai economy. If you remember back in time that whatever that happened in Thailand will affect Cambodia directly, because majority of the cheap labor in Thailand are from Cambodia.
Right.
So according to this expert, Pavida, he said that given the significance of the economic interest between the two countries, perhaps they need to tone down the kind of hostile relationship that they had a few years ago.
So this hostile relationship, which meant there were tensions between these two countries, that was escalated in the past decade, and a conflict over this demarcation of the 9th century Hindu temple, which was known in Cambodia as the Prasat Privihar, or in Thai as Privihar. So there was a tension between these two countries because of this incident. However, when it comes to economic growth, since Cambodia is also the second most important source of labor in the Thai economy, it is very important to build up a stronger relationship as well as to boost the economic and business ties.
I think when it comes to politics, it's not easy to navigate ties, but it's good that they are doing something, especially for Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen, to move forward beyond just politics and focus on economy and social progress. Just to go back with the Hindu temple clashes, border clashes erupted from 2008 until 2011, which eventually settled by the International Court of Justice. But of course, the hurt takes time to heal. So hopefully, in the future, Thailand and Cambodia can be the best of friends, just like Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore.
For sure.
Anyway, we'll take another short break. When we return, we'll discuss the arts and culture side of Southeast Asia.
We're on top of the world. We're on top of the world now, darling, so don't let go. Can I call you mine?
So can I call you mine now, darling, for a whole lifetime? My heart finally trusts my mind, and I know somehow it's right. And oh, we got time, yeah. So darling, just say you'll stay right by my side. And oh, we got love, yeah. So darling, just swear you'll stand right by my side. We're on top of the world. We're on top of the world now, darling, so don't let go. I got something to say. You're perfect in every way. I'm gonna shout it out. I wanna tell you now, 'cause I know somehow it's right. And oh, we got time, yeah. Darling, just where you'll stay right by my side. And oh, we got love, yeah. Darling, just where you'll stand right by my side. Be my forever, be my forever, be my forever. Be my forever, be my forever, be my forever. You're my breathless sky, you're the sun in my eyes. Oh, baby, you're my life, you're the reason why. We're on top of the world. We're on top of the world now, darling, so don't let go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And oh, we got time, yeah. We got love, so darling, just where you stay right by my side. And oh, we got love, yeah. Darling, just where you stay right by my side. Be my forever, be my forever, be my forever. Be my forever, be my forever, be my forever. Well, love me forever, I'll love you forever. Be my forever, be my forever, be my forever, be my forever.
Hi, I am Melvin. I am from Waggymeal.com, the fastest growing online pet food store in Malaysia. Choose your battle wisely in whatever you do. What are the 20% of things you are currently doing that create 80% of the impact? You are now listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery.
Hi, I am Megat Charizal. I am from Playground Productions, saying please play, don't play. You are now listening to Durian ASEAN. Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery.
Standing in a crowded room and I can't see your face. Put your arms around me, tell me everything's okay. In my mind I'm running round a cold and empty space. Just put your arms around me, tell me everything's okay. Break my bones, but you won't see me fall. Oh, the rising
ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Good morning. This is Arlene.
Welcome back. This is Grace.
And of course, you are with us on the arts and culture side of Southeast Asia. We move to Cambodia, where sisters plan of a lifetime trip to help children in Cambodia.
Well, that's very true. These two sisters will be helping independent charity, the Feeding Dreams School, which gives free education to more than 800 children whose parents can't afford to send them to school. So when it comes to poverty, this is one of the biggest issue in not only in Cambodia but throughout the Southeast Asia, but especially focusing on Cambodia, where families they struggle to put food on the table. They let alone pay about $1 a day it costs to give one child a basic education.
Wow, $1.
Yeah, and also, well, giving the free education to more than 800 children is not an easy step, but that these two sisters have taken this very bold and brave step to help them up. So Sarah May, who works as a receptionist at the Watson Mitchell, has said, I've been working in 3 jobs, often working 7 days a week to put enough money aside to fund my trip. So, like I shortly mentioned before, this is a very bold step for coming from these sisters, and also to be able to help them, which is a very positive news to Cambodia.
We are glad for the two sisters to be able to, leave their jobs and fly all the way to Cambodia to help those kids. They pay for their own flight, living costs, make personal contribution to the charity.
Yep.
Also fundraise as much as they can for them. They survive purely on donation.
At the same time, Sarah May is one of the sister, and the other sister's name is Rachel, who works in child care. She said every single penny they can raise for these children make a massive difference to their lives, and each one is totally traceable and also goes directly into the school. So nothing is wasted, and the money makes sure that children get at least one decent meal a day, and that's what these two sisters are hoping for.
I'm really happy for what these two sisters are doing, but I think on the larger scale, more people should come, either donate money or come and volunteer their time, just to understand that, there are people out there who are not as lucky as we are.
Yes, that's very true.
We move on to our own soil, Malaysia. This is a news about one Malaysian-born journalist who won the prestigious Pulitzer Prize. Maybe flying high in a career that brings her all over the world, but she certainly could not picture herself working in journalism and writing industry in Malaysia. But personally, I'm happy that one Malaysian lady able to win the Pulitzer Prize, which is the most prestigious journalism award, similar to the Oscar.
Well, that's very interesting news, because when it comes to Asian parents being a writer, I don't know how many parents do support for their children to become a writer, because most of them still until now they want their children to be doctors, lawyers, or something more. It's solid, and if they can it sounds very promising to their future. But writers is still not so popular around this region. But because of this person, perhaps she can inspire other writers and perhaps also journalists to let them pursue their careers in this area, as well as that it's got its own future if you want something to do.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And she hoped to inspire people who might consider a career in writing. When asked if she would consider to come back to Malaysia, as we all know, she has just gotten her American citizenship. But she said that she is not considering to come back to Malaysia, even though it is a loss of talent to Malaysia. She didn't mince her word when saying that Malaysia, she wouldn't have made it big if she would stay in Kuala Lumpur.
Right. Well, at the same time, but still she hopes that Malaysians who are interested in having their career in journalism would feel inspired and also want to find that there are always ways that they can achieve something as important as a Pulitzer as well.
And just to give a bit of a background, that award that she won in 2007, the Pulitzer Prize, is part of a group in the Wall Street Journal where they won for reporting the economic effects in China. She hopes that people who are interested in journalism will feel inspired and they can achieve something as important as the Pulitzer. Moving on to Myanmar. Myanmar Beer's take on its rival with a facelift.
Well, Myanmar Brewery Limited, which called MBL, the military-linked producer of this old favorite Myanmar beer and also other 4 brands, they face stiff competition from global giants apparently.
Wow.
So all these drinkers buying a beer at Yangon's roadside bar shack, they used to face this limited choice. More likely than not, they will order a mug of Myanmar beer, sometimes with a shot of coarse whiskey to give the light local brew an extra kick. But now, thanks to the rival of Denmark's Carlsberg and also its Dutch rival Heineken, which began brewing in Myanmar this year, as economic reforms, which really shows that Myanmar has opened up the platforms to welcome foreign brands and also its market to protect under the military rule. So now Myanmar people can have chance to taste the beers from the international brands.
And in fact, Heineken's economy brand, Regal 7, is slowly chipping away at Myanmar Beer's competitive advantage. It used to be just a monopoly by Myanmar Beer, I guess. Nowadays, people just want choices.
Right. So, which is also quite good when it comes to economic growth in Myanmar. But then when it also comes to this culture part, it could be more diverse in beer. But I'm afraid that the government will take some kind of action to it because more people will enjoy more beers and different kinds and flavors.
Yeah. But on the economic side, might not be good for Myanmar Beer because it monopolized 2/3 of the country's beer market. But with the influx of so many different brands, different companies, beer companies, the Myanmar Beer have to move swiftly to overhaul both its image and products to appeal to the Myanmar new consumer. That's all from us today. Thanks for listening to Durian ASEAN.
And don't forget to visit us, durianasean.com. That's our website. And we also have 4 social media channels, which are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.